Today's video is going to be a important one because it is coming from a place of, let me take the glasses off actually. It's coming from a place of low self-efficacy. It's coming from a place of low ability or belief in my own ability to achieve, accomplish, reach a certain measure of success towards my goals, which is a mindset that completely permeates into every single part of your life. Low or high self-efficacy. It's very, very similar to mindsets in terms of a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. But I would say that it differs in specific points, right? Now, self-efficacy, which again, I guess the formal definition would be a person's or an entity's belief. That's a big thing. So this is coming from the core. This is deeply embedded in your mind. Ability or belief about their ability, so the possibility, their what they can put out into the world, essentially, the ability to achieve a certain measure of success, a goal, to accomplish things, a task, a goal, whatever it might be. It can be in several dimensions of life, right? It can be on a financial level, reaching a certain amount of wealth. It can be on a relationship level, having X amount of friends, having this kind of friendship, deep friendships with a certain amount of people, having a relationship, things like that. It can be academic. It can be in any dimension of life, being a good father, being a good mother, all this shit. But here's the thing. There are certain points in our life, typically starts very young, when, and of course there's external factors too, which I feel are becoming increasingly polarized in terms of where people go. And I feel like the majority of people are going in a negative direction of lower self-efficacy, lower belief in themselves, due to advancements in technology, especially social media, and the consumption, the overconsumption, which is a result of self-fulfilling cycle. Because if you have low self-efficacy or high self-efficacy, you believe that you can achieve things. Okay, so let's take a certain scenario. You have the same person, this individual, let's say they're 10 years old, and you break them off into the same person, except that there's two of them. One has a little parameter switched, which is high belief for self-efficacy, and the other one, low. These people, you look at them 1 year later, I can guarantee you that, and of course this is dependent on the person's values, their belief systems, what they care about, right? Maybe, so we take the set of things that this person deeply values. You give them different weights. The things that they value most on both sides will probably have some measure of success. But I can guarantee you the person with the high self-efficacy naturally is going to have a far, far greater measure of success when looked at by, most people, by society at large, by culture. Because they believe in themselves. And what belief of success, self-efficacy, enables action. And that's a big thing, because you don't realize it's on a conscious level. But this parameter, which is itself composed of many, many other things, but, I don't want to reduce it down into each of its components. it's still a pretty low level thing in terms of self-efficacy. Of course, there's so many parameters that affect the function, the output of your self-efficacy as a person. But nonetheless, if you take this, it enables action. Right? High self-efficacy enables action. High belief in oneself to achieve tasks means to take action for it because they think they will be able to, especially the things that matter to them, which is why we come back to the set of values that they hold, which obviously can go both ways. If you have a severely depressed person, which typically is not the self-advocate. So there's also correlation. So I got so many ideas bouncing in my head now. Kind of gotta let them out. I know they're very theoretical in terms of, I'm speaking generally, which I don't like to do. I like to give specific concrete examples. But in general, the population, people who are experiencing depression, don't believe that they can achieve things. It's kind of a symptom, of course, of a large amount of things, but partially other self-efficacy level, because they don't believe they can do things. They had values, and they still do have values, but they might have morphed and been changed as a result of them not believing that they can achieve it. Maybe they went after it, and they didn't realize it. That's another thing. Of course, self-efficacy alone is not enough, because we're talking about this parameter as though it's read-only. What does that mean? It means it doesn't change. It's a constant. Sorry, I've been programming all day, so I'm using like freaking programming terms, but yeah, programming terminology everywhere. But it's a constant. It's not. It will change as a result of the result of your actions, as a result of you have a perceived level of ability, and then you have a real level of ability, what you actually demonstrate in real life. And the gap between the two, the delta, will either go one way or another. It will increase your self-efficacy or lower it. But it's your response to it. How resilient are you? How much courage do you have? Sometimes you can really believe you're going to do something, yet you're not courageous enough to do it. It's simply part of a larger function. For any person to engage in certain behavior, there is motives. Humans by default, any animal by default, anything in the universe prefers to say as it is. If it's fully satiated, then no action is required. You're in a state of, I guess, nirvana, right? Whatever that might be. It's a state of perfection, essentially, where every fucking component, every cell of your being is complete. You don't need to take any more action because you feel good. You feel beyond good. You feel like nothing has to change, because that would be the maddest of follies that mankind, that the universe could ever impose upon you. That is nirvana. It's inertia. It's the basic rule of inertia. No momentum needed. Sorry. Oh my god, I'm talking like a madman. But am I? Maybe I'm just theorizing. Maybe I'm just bouncing ideas out of my head that really need to be said. Because look, I love doing this. I love talking. I love expressing these ideas. And the thing is, I haven't really been expressing these ideas, these kind of ideas specifically, for a long time. So I'm gonna cut all the bullshit and get straight to what I wanted to say from the start. This was going to be a challenge to myself, and when I say a challenge, I mean a more so structured way to go about this. It'll be a theory. I have a theory and I'm going to test it. I have a theory that I can increase my self-efficacy by taking tiny actions, very, very small actions relative to what I usually do in a day, and succeeding at them. And also holding a mantra and reminding myself of this mantra every day, writing it down, speaking out loud. You know, what is this mantra? I haven't come up with it yet, but having a mantra that reminds me, that brings me back into the state of mind of believing in self-efficacy, believing in my own self-efficacy, right? Having the fuel for the self-efficacy coming from this mantra, a daily burning reminder. So, what is it? What is it going to be? I have the power. I, myself, Eric Nielsen, have the power to change my circumstances. I have the power to believe myself no matter what happens. No matter what, I have the power. No matter what fucking crazy shit I tell myself, I do have the power. Now this will come with a whole series of things that I have to do or should be doing. One of them being meditation and journaling. So that'll be two big things that I'm going to try. It's going to be for the next 30 days. And just to be, not even that, because that's too big. That's too big. That's too long of a period of time. It'll be for a week, 7 days. That's a period of time that I can clearly visualize, and that I can sort things out and at least take some action. So that's where it all starts. If you remember what I was talking about earlier, I was talking about how a tiny bit of action results eventually in a huge result. Self-efficacy feeds itself, especially when the result is positive. So you need small wins. You need a series of small wins. Continuous growth over this eventually leads you to a point where you're unrecognizable. Right now, the way that we're programmed as human beings, and by society standards too, largely my look right now, fucking bathrobe, crazy hair, unshaven, even though I'm going to be keeping this, I'm growing it out. But I believe that I can grow a beard because, well, I've done it in the past. Not a great beard, but it's better. Yeah, I could do that, just check out my fucking jawline, all this shit, man. Check my butt. I've been training. I train a lot. But socially, I've gotten very paranoid. And that's a big issue with me. Because as a person who's very expressive, to have a mental illness like this and believing that I'm subjugated by it, believing that I'm tied down and cannot change out of it, is absolutely it's the fucking end, let's just say. And I've slowly but surely been creeping down into its fucking cage. I've been the one who has been fooled. Because you gotta realize, whether you're mystical or not, that you are far more than you think you are. You know, if you believe yourself to be the size of a pea, then, you know, you'll act like it. You can convince a dog that it's a cat if you do enough fucking brain training. If you do enough operant conditioning, any kind of fucking classical conditioning, any shit. You can do it. Depending on where your starting point is, of course, and several other factors, but you can fucking do it. Oh man. It's gonna be hard. Get the glasses back on. Okay. I feel like I would have seemed more credible had I worn these while I was doing that little rant. Essentially what I'm fucking trying to tell you myself. And yes, this will be uploaded probably somewhere. As I guess it would be a challenge. But essentially what I'm trying to say here. What am I trying to say? There's a lot of things that I'm trying to say. It's not just a single fucking idea. It's multiple ideas coming together nicely. Just congruently into this theory. Brings me back to it. The theory. Okay. This is really the main point. The mantra, of course, reminding myself that I am capable of more than I tell myself. I can be the universe if I want to. And sorry to tell ya, you would need a really big fucking cage to lock up the universe. Because the universe is essentially infinite, ever expanding. So you would need an infinitely large cage to fill up infinity. Infinity cannot cage infinity. That's the funny thing. Because infinity is not a number. Infinity is a concept. It's an idea. An idea cannot cage an idea. Oh my god, I'm tired as fuck. So, with this ramble, okay. Simple ideas, simple framework. I do small things every day. This means, coming back to my own life, personalized for me, I will not wake up past 8 a.m. no matter what. That's not a hard thing to do. 8 a.m. maximum, whether I've been drinking the night before or not. I'm not setting the limits on my drugs. I'm literally got a monitor back here. See that?